Hey everyone, it's Justine. Welcome to another video tutorial. Today I'm going to be creating 5 cards, all using one stamp set, the Hex Fade Clear stamp, as far as the backgrounds go anyway, one stamp set. It's this beautiful stamp here. It comes with the coordinating dies, which I used in a few cards and some cards I didn't. And these stamps are some of my favorite because they are the most versatile. I'm going to link another one up in the right hand corner that I used with a My Favorite Thing stamp that I absolutely adore, that I created a ton of cards with because these geometric shapes just speak to me. So we're going to get started with some stamping. All of these cards are very simple, quick and easy to make, and are perfect for beginners. So I'm using my Misti stamping tool to stamp some of these down, and this card here, or all my cards rather, use the same ink combination. So I am using Limoncello, Tiki Torch, and Tutti Frutti from Catherine Pooler. They're super vibrant, beautiful, and they layer really well together. So you can see for this background here, I'm simply adding 3 squares for a geometric pattern, and it's completely finished already. At least the background is. So now moving on to the next one, I'm going to create 3 striped lines of this beautiful hex pattern. Now, if you have trouble with lining things up or spacing, then I would suggest stamping the middle image first and then stamping the 2 on the side. I just kind of went with it and did whatever I felt like, as I usually do, and it turned out really well. It worked out really nicely, the spacing, but I could see how this could run into trouble for some people. So stamp the one in the middle first, then stamp the ones on the side, and you shouldn't have any issues. I'm going to layer that same stamp 3 times, but I'm going to have them in various lengths, or varying lengths, I guess would be the word. And I'm stamping this time with Tiki Torch, which is that beautiful cross between a yellow and an orange. And then I'm going to stamp finally with the Limoncello, that very vibrant yellow. And each time I'm just adding about a ½ inch or so of a difference between the length of the stamp. So that background is now finished as well. For my next card, I'm simply adding some horizontal stripes this time, and you can see that the fade goes in towards the middle, so it's very dense at the sides and works its way over. And what I'm doing this time, because I'm stamping with Catherine Pooler inks, I don't really have to worry about the fact that my stamp might not have good coverage, so I don't have to worry about using a magnet or having specific placement on my Misti. But what I am doing is I'm lining it up with my grid lines, and I'm moving it up as I go, so I get the same even placement, and I don't have to move my stamp, which of course is going to be relatively time consuming. So each time I'm moving my card up 3 grid spaces, and that's giving me a perfect amount of space in between. And not only that, but it's also giving me perfect spacing in general with the lines, and also keeping things straight. So I went ahead and I stamped each color there in a gradient sort of effect, and then I'm finished with that background as well. Next up, I'm going to be creating some that I'm going to end up die cutting. So I've added a small strip as well as a square. I'm stamping them in the same color. And what I'm doing here is I'm stamping it once on the edge of my cardstock. I'm turning my cardstock around and stamping it again. This way I don't have to worry about removing my stamp every single time I stamp. It's a little bit of a trick that you can use really with anything. Now I'm going to just go ahead and layer this stripe, or this vertical strip here, again next to the yellow that I just stamped with the square, leaving of course enough space in between for the die cutting. Make sure you leave a space in between. And then I'm going to pick them up again. I'm going to stamp them, rotate my cardstock, and then stamp them again. And I'm going to do this until I have 2 of each of the colors. Now I am going to go ahead and use the die cuts to cut these out. Now, do you need the die cuts for the stamp set? Yes and no. So these are pretty easy to cut out. I mean, if you had a paper trimmer, you could easily trim these down. So it really comes down to convenience and budget, how many times you're going to use this stamp set. Don't forget, the area that you just cut out, you could also use as a cover plate die if you wanted to. So that might be another perk for using the dies. You can make your own cover plate dies with small rectangles, large rectangles, things like that. And I find these particular shapes quite handy for using with scraps of cards and all sorts of stuff. So I'm now using some of the Tutti Frutti. I had stamped 2 strips onto my cardstock, and then I'm going to go ahead and layer 2 of my die cuts, and I am adding adhesive to the top and the bottom of the strip of paper. The reason why is I want them to be relatively flexible in the middle because I wanted to create sort of a crisscross pattern. So I thought this would look really neat. So I added then the Tiki torch over top to make my third line, horizontal line, you could say. And then I went ahead and added one more strip here in the center. And just in case I wanted to go under or over anything, I kept my options open by only adding that adhesive to the top and bottom. The next one I'm going to do involves the little squares that we cut out earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of random stamp using some orange twist. And then I'm going ahead in with some of the Tutti Frutti, and I am adding a few more of the squares here and there. I'm just really randomly stamping these kind of everywhere. Then I'm going to go in and add some of these little squares in using some adhesive. So I decided to add some foam adhesive and pop these up a little bit. This is creating just such a pretty geometric pattern. So I'm doing random placement here and there, random colors here and there, and you could also have the sort of little hexagons going vertically or horizontally. It's completely up to you. I ended up going a fair distance above my card, and I think it looks really great when it's all finished. So here is a look at the final backgrounds that I created using this very simple stamp. You can just see the possibilities really are endless, and they're really stunning cards. So again, I used just a few colors, Limoncello, Tiki Torch, and then I used the Tutti Frutti, and I did add a little bit of orange twist in there now and again. I simply stamped my cards with things like, "It's your birthday," "Time for you to shine," "Sending hugs," "Hello," and "Happy birthday," all taken from Birch Press either dies or stamps. And I finished off all of these cards in such a fun way. I have some more detailed photos on the blog post below if you want to see them closer and just get more details on which sentiment stamps that I used and which dies that I used. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to click on my face there to subscribe to my channel, and be sure to check out another video that I have suggested below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!